The Jim and Terry Show coming to you from Bob Cajun. Lovely spring approaching. Almost hints of summer-like temperatures. Going to be a high of 15 to 18 today. I know that's not exactly summer weather, but it's a good start at spring. Puts a little bounce in your step, a little, what do they call it? What does your eyes manufacture when you're exposed to sunlight? Some endorphins? A little vitamin mix going on when your eyes are exposed to sunlight. Get outside, enjoy the weather, at least some of the time, before you have to do your chores, your work, your manual labor, your whatever is occupying your day. Spend some of it outside. Gorgeous. All right, continuing the theme of it's in the news and have you heard and where do we get our sources of information? I'm still probing along ground news and appreciating once more that it allows me to frame news articles, see bias visually, see it in the way headlines are stated, and look at it in terms of quantity. You can measure the number of articles that come from left, center, right sources. And I'm going to focus on one to start with that has one of those rare things where it's 33% left, 33% center, and 33% of the articles are right-leaning. So basically, they're all sort of center, then wobbling slightly left or slightly right, but down the middle. So what is it that draws something that total of 35 news sources were analyzed upon this title? The title is Labour Party wins Australian election. Anthony Albanese to remain PM according to projections. All right, so that is apparently being portrayed as an affirmation of independence from the Trump tariff wars and the world of chaos that Trump is sowing as leader of the United States. So Canada led the way just a week or so, 2 weeks ago, with the election of Mark Carney, which is perceived as a repudiation of Pierre Poilievre's leaning towards and embrace of Trumpism and MAGA and Project 2025 and all the values that come with that package. And Carney's surge with the Liberals is a repudiation of that kind of thinking. So Canada starts it off, and here is Australia going the same way. So what does it all mean? Well, we can scroll down and take a look at the article titles. They're simply Australian PM wins re-election. Australia federal election, Labour on course to win its second term. Voters reject opposition Liberal Party's Trump-like, there's an irony, the opposition Liberal Party's Trump-like policies. Voters reject that. Now, that's ironic, because in Canada, when you say Liberal, you say anti-Trump-like policies. Here in Australia, well, it is the down under and the upside down. The Liberal Party apparently there means an embrace of Trump-like policies, which would be authoritarian, which would be hinting at getting rid of due process, I guess, is part of what Trumpism is all about now. So how does this play out? Well, articles are all down the middle, simply saying it's an election. Labour won. It is a repudiation of Trump and Trumpism and Trump-like values. It is a repudiation of Australia's flirting with MAGA and MAGA values. So there we go. Canada first, Australia second. And that, again, is on ground news. And I will put a link in the description. You can see how, I think the app was only like $3, $2 a month or something. But it's a great way to start poking around an idea. You want to check out the news. So again, that is one that was the rare 33% left, 33% center, 33% right. So quite a balance of ways that you're going to do it. All right, how about this one as a title? This is on the sidebar of my home screen. Stephen Miller, top Trump advisor, now a contender for Trump's national security advisor. Now, just looking at that news title, Stephen Miller, so we know who he is, top contender, that just means he's leading the pack, for Trump's national security advisor, NSA. Well, I would have to raise my radar and say, what the heck is going on there? What qualifications does Stephen Miller have? Well, as I all know, my interpretation of Trump's band of no-goods and his cabinet and his advisors is zero expertise and all political loyalty. Or is it fealty, where you swear allegiance not to the Constitution of the United States, but to the person of the orange Jesus? Yeah, that's okay. So let's see where that goes. As you would expect, who's going to be interested in seeing that story? Well, I would have said, as a left-leaning person, I would want to be all over that. What's going on? How did that happen? I'd like to know process. But it turns out that 67% of the articles on this topic are from right-leaning news sources. 0% are down the middle, and 27% are on the left side of center. So this is kind of an odd thing. I would have said with that topic that it should have been skewed the other way around. Most left-leaning, left of center, center-left would have been covering this. What's it all about? Well, if you know Stephen Miller, he's the one who looks like Count Chocula to me. And there was one interview on CNN early on in Trump 1.0 where he had an interview with Jake Tapper. And I swear he must have used a cardboard cutout V and sprayed black spray paint or fuzzy black hair growth simulation stuff. And he looked like Count Chocula. Indeed, his own hairline, his natural hairline, is not a spiky V in the front. It's just a line across the middle of his head. His hair is pretty much all gone. That's a description of who he is, what he looks like. His policies are anti-Semitic, and that is demonstrably measured in his statements. He's also authoritarian. He uttered the words that I think haunt me from Trump in 2016, again, in that same, I'm not sure it was in the same Jake Tapper interview, but it was perhaps a statement in the Congress. In the Congress, I think he was being asked by a reporter, and he said, "You should not question the power of the president." And that was in 2016. Well, we've got the power. It sounds like a He-Man commercial from the 80s cartoon series. He-Man, I've got the power. Yeah, Stephen Miller said the president has a power, absolute power, which is the unity theory of government, which is one ring to bind them all, and the executive holds it, and the executive is Trump. I am the state, l'état, c'est moi. And Stephen Miller was the one to really embrace all of that. So what is this article talking about? Well, it seems like since Trump moved Waltz out from being with Rubio and Secretary of State and Foreign Affairs, that Waltz has been moved to ambassador to the United Nations, I believe. That movement was either a punishment for Signalgate, which is really Pete Hegseth's baby, and he should be the one leaving. Instead, it's Waltz who's been demoted. Yeah, because the U.S. position at the UN is considered by Trump to be a non-thing, a no thing. Trump never believed in the UN, believed it was corrupt through and through, and he may have some reasons for that, justifiable and measurable, and we can discuss that. But by doing that move, that side hustle shuffle, he's created an opening for an NSA, National Security Advisor, and that would be the ultimate loyalist. I would have thought it might have been Sebastian Gorka, who is another, well, I would call him a crazy far-right fascist, but Stephen Miller could be labeled those things, and you could provide ample evidence to support the allegation that he is a far-right fascist. So Stephen Miller up for National Security Advisor. Well, that goes on to take a look at the articles. So most of them are interested in the way the process unfolded, how you move one person out, creates an opportunity for someone else. So some of that is just fact-finding. Some of them have a bias already in the headline. For instance, New York Post, which is a right-leaning Trump-supporting newspaper out of New York State. Trump aide Stephen Miller gains support for National Security Advisor post after Waltz's departure. Quote, would be an excellent choice. Yeah, the mwahaha was not in the headline. That was my addition after reading that would be an excellent choice. So I'd be curious who said would be an excellent choice. So I would like to read that article and find out that information. Other articles say simply that Miller has emerged as a candidate for the security post. Some of them say that he's not just in contention, but he is a top contender, says some of the articles. This one is definitely a left-leaning source. How can you tell? Here's the title. Trump's most fanatical soldier tipped for National Security Advisor. Well, of course, that sounds like a left-leaning because there's opinion and bias right in the headline. But it tells you straight up where the opinion piece is going to lead in its marshalling of facts. So I need to read the article and find out how many facts, what are you using to create that title, that narrative there. Okay, that was the Daily Beast. There are more articles. Suffice to say that Ground News gives me the chance to scroll through these articles to look for where they are, whether they have mixed factuality, high factuality, or low factuality, meaning they're mostly talking heads and opinion. I'm interested in the details because that's where I believe the devil lurks. In a metaphorical way, of course. The devil lurks in the details of something. You can broad stroke something. You can make a golden calf by spray painting a pile of debris gold and call it a golden calf. The devil is in the details. What's in that pile that you spray painted gold and tried to call a golden calf? Is it Donald Trump and his meme coins, his bitcoins, his grifting? Well, he's going to have a lot of company in the grift when Stephen Miller joins as National Security Advisor. He's yet to be vetted. But Republicans, they don't care. There's no standard. The Jim and Terry Show. Bye-bye.